What's good, everybody? Welcome into the Early Edge, your daily sports betting brand of record. It is Thursday, February 17th, 2022. This is your daily sports betting brand of record where we educate and we entertain. You have some good days, you have some bad days, and as I like to say here on the show, some ho-hum days. Now, we hit Liverpool. That was nice. Alabama, we had that covered until the last second of the game. Brutal. The Georgia LSU under in the underdog. 85% success rate, and they still covered that under. Brutal bad beats last night. However, Zach Attack came through 2 out of 3. That was really, really nice. And how about the two-piece from AB? Strong. Pacers, one big. Bulls, easy cover there too. I like that a lot. All right, let's bring in the stars of the show because I'm going to go 5 wide today. And first and foremost, live from Nashville, Tennessee, the penthouse level. M Squared, good morning.
Good morning, Coach. Good morning, everybody. Looking forward to another awesome golf event this week. We've also got the Daytona 500 this weekend. A lot of fun sports, even though football is over.
That's right. We're kind of dividing our year into 2 different parts, and this is just the first week of the second part. Now, a man who's going to be a big part of that second season is live from New York City. We call him Jay Smooth. He calls himself the Machine. He's here this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Coach. Always excited to be here. We have a busy day of college basketball, and Selection Sunday is less than a month away, so let's get it.
And there is a game at noon Eastern time today that we will get into very, very shortly. Now, normally, he would get introduced last, not this morning. He is the maestro. Good morning, Mr. Hartstein.
Good morning, Coach. To be honest, I've been depressed a little bit. You know, when football ends, to me, it's like a dark time. And it's taken me a couple of days to get back and then to see everyone here. I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
See, if we can pick you up, that's all we're trying to do is get our leader back in his mojo. Now, there's a reason I waited until the end to introduce this young lady, because when she started with us, she was barely being able to give you a take. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you the brand new brand ambassador for Caesar Sportsbook, Allie, the Ice Queen. Congratulations, young lady. How are you?
Thank you very much.
What are you going to be doing? Is it just going to be kind of just representing the brand? Yes?
Yeah, so I'll do a lot of that, and then I'll start producing a little bit more like just betting content, whether it be like trends or stats that you can look at, and those will be on my Twitter. In addition to my plays, but just so everyone knows they're not plays whenever I post a trend.
All right, very good. Make sure you listen and pay attention. But whatever you do, follow her on Twitter because she makes a difference, and we're so excited that Allie is on our team. All right, let's get into storylines that could affect the betting lines today. And about an hour from where I'm sitting right now, they just teed off the first round of the Genesis. It's a huge purse. Over $2 million to the winner. But they will have to fight Mother Nature this morning. Mikey, you're up first.
Yeah, it's a huge purse. I'm glad you mentioned that too. The strength of the field here is actually tougher than some of the Masters events that we've seen over the last few years. So it's a really difficult event here. But we've got a wind advisory in effect this morning, and it's kind of unusual to have all of the winds so early at some of these events, but we do have it here. It's going to impact the morning wave of players. It should die down around 2-3 p.m., which is not going to impact some of the players who are teeing off this afternoon. And why that's interesting is because if you go look at tournament bets, yes, you can still bet matchups for the tournament, even though the tournament has started, as long as both players haven't started. There are a number of matchups available at most of the major sports books where one of the players is teeing off in about an hour from now, and the other opponent is teeing off 3 to 4 hours later, where they're not going to be dealing with the wind. Having that advantage built in, even just for round one, even just for 8 to 10 holes, can be the difference between winning, pushing, or losing a matchup bet. So just look at that. Look at some of the tee times for your golfers if you're playing matchups this week.
Yeah, take that extra step because normally when the bet comes out, it just has the start time. But as Mikey said, it doesn't mean that both guys are starting at that time. Doesn't mean that. Great advice. All right. Now, as I mentioned, college basketball is starting very, very soon. And there is a big one in the Big Ten coming up with 2 teams that prior to the season, everybody thought could be in the mix come March Madness. Jay Smooth, what do you got?
I think both teams will be in the mix, Coach. We're talking about Iowa and Michigan today. This is probably the marquee matchup of the entire day. It's not actually the greatest slate, even though we have about 70 games or so. But let's get into it. Here's what you need to know about the matchup. Michigan coming off of a home loss to Ohio State, while Iowa has won about 3 straight games against the bottom teams in the Big Ten. But what's really interesting here is how Michigan just matched up against Purdue, who really kind of bills as the same profile as Iowa, right? Both teams very heavy focus on offense while they struggle a little bit on defense. People thinking, well, if Michigan was able to handle Purdue with a similar build, why can't they handle this Iowa team? Sharps are going to be on Michigan, but Iowa 17-2 in their last 19 games at home, 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 games at home against Michigan. So there's some trends leaning Iowa. I'm going to guess it's going to be Iowa. That offense at home is just going to be a little too potent. -5.5 is a sharp line. No official play for me, but this is going to be a great game.
Yeah, right now, Mike is going, oh, he said trends. He said trends. No.
Mike does hate trends.
Oh, he hates trends. He hates trends. We know that. All right, now, if you know our girl, Allie, you know the Ice Queen. You know she loves to target her some overs. Now, Allie, if there's a trend to the over or the under, what would it be?
Yeah, sorry, Mike. I have some pretty good trends for you today. So the Blue Jackets, Wild, and Panthers, their overs are all hitting at 60% or above. So, I mean, if you're just taking that blindly, 60% of the time you win. So, and then in the kind of the flip on the under, you have the Rangers, who are leading, and then you have the Senators and Sharks, and all of those teams are also 60% for the under. You can get more specific if you break it down into like home road location, but it's definitely something to keep in mind when you're betting on a game, just because knowing that 60% of them are going to go one direction really can help you narrow down your bets.
Boy, that is great advice. How many of you are digging that deep? Educate and entertain. Educate and entertain. My man says SportsLine with Coach in the morning is the best caffeine, especially when we go 5 wide, especially when the man who's up next just said he's like in a slumber. He doesn't like it when the NFL season is over. So he's always looking forward. He's always looking to the next. Maestro, what do you got?
Yeah, so I got to stick in the NFL because there's been some interesting moves in terms of the Super Bowl odds. You know, they were posted for next year, early money. I think the sharpest money has come in on the Vikings from 50-1 down to 30-1. A guy put 4,000 at 50-1. That's a $200,000 liability for Caesars. And if you look at this, it does make sense. Kevin O'Connell, one of those bright young minds, another 36-year-old guy from the same coaching tree that just won the Super Bowl. Coach Kirk Cousins in Washington. They went 8-9, and they lost 8 of those games by 1 score. The Vikings, I mean, if you looked at them last year, there was something a little bit wrong in terms of the relationship with Zimmer. This team had more talent than 8-9. So I think that makes a lot of sense. 50-1 down to 30-1. The Broncos, that's purely Aaron Rodgers rumors, down from 30-1 to 22-1. His coach, his offensive coordinator, now the head coach in Denver. Cowboys to 1, 18-1 to 16-1. That was just a bet, a $90,000 liability that Caesars took. And what's interesting, if you look at the Chiefs, 7-1. The favorite to win the Super Bowl has not been higher than 6-1 since 2010. So this is actually good value on a Chiefs team that's made 4 straight AFC championship games. And RJ White has an article right now up on the site with his best futures bets for next year's Super Bowl. And I can tell you the Chiefs are one of them, but he's also got some really good long shots. If I had to take a long shot right now, I would probably lean on the Browns at 40-1. Baker Mayfield was not healthy this entire season. If they could just get some receiving help and get a healthy Baker Mayfield, he had 26 touchdowns and 8 INTs last season when he was healthy. This year he got hurt in week 2 and probably shouldn't have played most of the season.
Well, I tell you, I think part of the reason the Chiefs number is where it's at is because of the Bills, is because of the Bengals, is because of the AFC is just a lot stronger than the NFC is right now. Thank you, Maestro. All right, let's get into our plays for the day. And from SportsLine, we've got 2 big plays today. If you're not a SportsLine member yet, what in the world are you doing? But I'm going to do you a solid. Use a promo code EDGE, 30 days for free. There could not be a better time. College hoops, NBA hoops, baseball, might start. A little spring training for you degenerates out there. Who knows? But from the site today, Europa League. And remember, these are not always the same starting lineups as their regular league. Barcelona and Napoli, 12:45 Eastern, they kick off. Just a half a unit. And the reason that we don't do a full unit here is because you don't always know which players are going to play when they play in these separate little events. So we'll go both teams to score -145 for a half a unit. Then in the NBA, very quietly, the New Orleans Pelicans have been improving. They just got CJ McCollum. He's a top-flight shooter, top-flight scorer in the NBA. We're going to go Pelicans +3.5 at home against the Dallas Mavericks as the NBA All-Star break is drawing very, very near. All right. Now, just because golf is starting, just because he has a golf pick, does not mean that we need to bring the energy down. No. So M squared, let's get into our board. You know the drill, son. I love golf so much. I love over $2 million to first place. I love everything about this Tiger Woods sponsored event, the Genesis. M squared, give it to me.
I love this event too, Coach, and I love this first round matchup. You know, I don't give first round plays very often. We're typically focused full tournament, second and third round only. However, Paul Casey, -125 against Patrick Reed here. I love this spot for Paul Casey. I think we're getting a good number on it because he hasn't played in the United States yet this year. He's played pretty well overseas, coming over here to an event and a course that really fits his style of play nicely. So what I'm looking for at this event, I'm looking for ball striking. I'm looking for a little driving distance. Patrick Reed has really struggled of late with both of those two facets of the game. Love Paul Casey here. I think that, like I said, we're getting a discount because nobody has seen him play in the United States yet this year. Take Paul Casey -125.
Oh, I have a love-hate relationship with Paul Casey. An absolutely love-hate relationship.
Give me Paul Casey there.
And that may or may not have been one of the moments that I had a hate relationship with Paul Casey. By the way, in the chat, my man Timothy said the last two Super Bowl winners were NFC, but the AFC is a stranger conference? ? Yes, Timothy, that is possible. That is absolutely possible. And just look at the teams. That's all you got to say. Just look at the teams. It's much harder right now to get to the Super Bowl in the AFC than it is the NFC, which is why Aaron Rodgers is not going to the AFC. I've been telling you guys that for weeks. Sometimes we got to be a little bit stiffer with people. All right, so now we got our golf pick. Now I want some early basketball, and I mean early, like in the next hour and 45 minutes early. Jay Smooth, floor is yours.
Oh, yeah, Coach. So we got this noon tip-off Eastern time with Buffalo and Eastern Michigan. This game was actually rescheduled. It was supposed to be a 6 p.m. tip, so maybe you saw some weird times out there yesterday. But nope, noon game. Really excited about it. I'm going to go ahead and take Buffalo. I played them last night at -9. SportsLine subs saw that one hit around 10:30 p.m. last night. Well, it's been about 12 hours. It's now -11. So I still like it. I definitely play it with a little bit, maybe a smaller of a wager because that line has ballooned a full 2 points here. But here's the deal. Buffalo has been crushing the bad teams. They actually played this EMU team only a couple weeks ago, and they beat them by 38. So to see this at 11 shouldn't really give too much pause. They've also beaten teams like Bowling Green in their last game by 27. I actually like that this moved to an earlier time. I think it's going to help Buffalo because Eastern Michigan isn't a very good team. And with this game in the middle of the day, basically the morning, I don't think they're going to get much of a home crowd here. I think this is going to be closer to a neutral court, which is maybe why you've seen it move to -11. So yeah, I'll take Buffalo still. You know, again, maybe a half unit at -11. If you can find a better number, yeah, let's go with the full unit.
I was just checking the start time of the game because I think it actually started by the time you gave me your pick in the game. What was the pick again? Buffalo, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes? Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good.
All right. Now, normally, this young lady and I are simpatico. Normally, we see eye to eye. This morning, not so much. Allie, what do you got for me?
Yes, I have an under actually for today. But I think this one's pretty good because I would feel really bad if I didn't take it and it hit because the last 17 times that the Rangers and the Red Wings have played each other have stayed at 6 or under. And then when you look at the Rangers, they're cashing the under 63.5% of the time. It's really not a bad bet. You have Shesterkin. He has a 1.98 GAA at home. And then you have Nedeljkovic. He has a 3.03 GAA, but I really don't think that the Rangers are really offensively motivated enough to go off and score a ton of goals. So I think we'll see a low scoring game, but I do think the Rangers get the win off Nedeljkovic.
My man DC Deuces in the chat says, Coach taking the over for Allie's first showdown? DC, I'm not an idiot. I'm not an idiot. Why would I go against her? Oh, my gosh. Just because I hate unders doesn't mean I'm going to go against her. Yes, Maestro.
Has Allie ever had a showdown on the show? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know. You ever had a showdown, Allie?
For Alabama.
Oh, she had the Alabama one. That's right. That's right. How could we forget that? How could we forget that? All right. Go against Allie. You guys are crazy. All right. Now, college hoops. We've flipped. Just in the last 5 minutes, Maestro went from Super Bowl. Now he's back laser focused on college basketball. And we're focused on a team down in, I believe it is, speaking of Alabama, in Alabama. How about that? Maestro, what do you got?
Yeah, I love the UAB Blazers. I'm always looking for a chance to bet on them, and I love this spot coming off a loss at Old Dominion. They've had 3 conference road losses that are kind of inexplicable given their talent and the way Jelly Walker can just fill it up, and now they get a Rice team that they lost to on the road. They're laying, it looks like a big number, but Rice just lost their starting guard, Quincy Oliveri, and after they lost him, they got destroyed by North Texas 67-44. They don't really have a lot of options in terms of perimeter. They're going to try to play big. I don't think it's going to work. UAB basically has to win out to have a chance of an at-large berth unless they win the conference tournament. They have destroyed teams at home in conference play, 6-0, winning by 20.5 points. I'm going to lay it with the Blazers. I do see this at 13.5 at least one major book, but it is going up, I should say. I've seen it now 14.5 elsewhere.
All right. UAB. Every time I think about UAB, I think about stopping the football program, restarting the football program, and actually winning a bowl game. That's amazing to think about. All right. What a show. What a show. I mean, anytime you add a brand ambassador to the show, I mean, it just takes it to another level. So with that being said, grab your paper, grab your pencils. Here is the recap, courtesy of the jeweler, and it looks absolutely glorious. Maestro's on UAB minus 13.5. M squared, 1 play. And as he said, he normally doesn't do round 1 plays, but he loves this one. Paul Casey over Patrick Reed minus 125. Then Allie, of course, follow her on social media. Red Wings Rangers under the 6. You heard all the stats. And then Jay Smooth, 1 play, but as always, follow him on social media too. Buffalo minus the 9, early start, noon Eastern. And then from the site, we're going to go Pelicans in the NBA plus the 3.5. Then a half a unit in Europa League. Barcelona and Napoli, both teams to score. Then, Jeweler, can you show your face, please? I want to get an explanation for the gem today. What were you thinking here?
Well, this is a little bit of a delayed sweat. Usually we go with the parlay, but I got something that's also about plus 350. We're going to take Brian Gay for a top 5 finish in the Chubb Classic on Champions Tour.
I just wanted to hear you say that.
Well, shout out to my buddy Thomas Schaefer. He loves betting the old guys on the golf tour. We would do that a lot at the CBS Sports HQ office. And
okay.
I mean, we're taking Brian Gay. He's a PGA Tour player. He's bouncing between. He just hit that 50-year-old mark. He won 2 years ago, the Bermuda. So we're going to, I mean, the form has been terrible lately, but usually these guys have a bump up in form whenever they go to the slightly easier tour for the Senior Champions Tour.
There's no question. But Jim Furyk's been dominating. Phil Mickelson dominating. Brian Gay, I mean, anytime you're 50 to 52, that's your money time on the Champions Tour. That's when you are at your best.
Unless your name is Bernard Longer, then you're just
then it's 70. Yes, when you're 72 for him. All right, thank you, Jeweler. Appreciate that. So there is your explanation for that. Damn it, we love doing this so much. We're really starting to get ramped up, and I can tell you because you know I love telling you a little behind the scenes of stuff we're cooking up in the lab, as Prop Stars likes to say. We've got some really fun stuff planned for March Madness, completely interactive here at the Early Edge. All right, as you know. At the end of every single show, there's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, love them all. M Square, J Smooth, the Ice Queen, Maestro, and of course the jeweler puts it all together here at the brand as our executive producer. I am the coach. You want to have fun? You want to be informed? You want to be included? This is the place. We like to call it the early edge. Good luck.
Give me fucking